Hello, my lovely friends. Welcome to your new moon in Taurus reading. So this is a collective reading. So it might not fit, it might not resonate with everybody, but take what fits, leave what doesn't, right? That's how these messages go. So new moon in Taurus, it is actually tomorrow. So it is May the 11th. It's insane to think that we're already in May, but here we are. So what we're really going to be looking at with this new moon in Taurus is new moon in Taurus. The energy you may be feeling or experiencing within this new moon cycle is very much the energy of what you need to do to take care of you, what makes you happy, what inspires your soul, what makes you feel good. That can really be the energy that's coming up here with this new moon in Taurus. So we're going to start with the energy oracle deck here. We're going to pull some tarot. We are going to get some other oracle cards out on the deck. But really what we're starting with this energy oracle is the overall energies that the collective may be feeling throughout this new moon cycle. Now keep in mind, the new moon cycle lasts for 2 to 3 weeks. You may have been feeling this prior to the new moon. Some of these things may have come up prior to it, of course, and you may find that you come across this reading at a later date, and yet something within it stirs you, and the message within here is what you needed to hear. So, trust that whenever you do find this message, that it was meant to find you. So let's get into this. All right, so Spirit, what do you have for the collective for this new moon in Taurus? What are the overall energies here that could be approaching? We have the second chakra, wow. We have the goddess of the moon. We have the garden and the gate. We have financial constraints. One more. All right, well, that seems to be, oh, no, and door to spirit. Wow, look at that. All right, so now we have patience, interesting. Patience and the door to healing. Yes, the door to healing and happiness on the bottom of the deck. What beautiful energies there to be the baseline here. And when we're talking about this new moon in Taurus, we are talking about, that doorway of personal healing and happiness. Because in order for us to actually find our personal healing and our personal happiness, that is something that is an us journey. That's not something that is for anybody else to do. And I can definitely see that these energies of this new moon are really kind of like almost creating that pause moment to be like, what does make you happy? Right? What is it that you want to see? Because that here is the second chakra. When we're talking about overall energies coming up here, that's the second chakra. The second chakra is your passions chakra, right? That's your sacral chakra. That's where our passions and that spark and that ignition to actually enjoy the life that is around us. That's where that begins, right? We have the goddess and the moon, which is after that. And here, this is connecting to the intuition. And when we're talking about the energy of this new moon in Taurus, like we're talking about connecting to your intuition, because in order to hear your intuition, you must connect to your soul, right? That's where our intuition speaks from, is our soul. That is very much this goddess of the moon energy. So here we have connecting to your passions. We have connecting and listening. And I love that it's the moon, because the moon is all about connecting to spirit and a higher, whatever that is to you. We're not here to certainly discuss religion. That's not what we're here. I imagine if you're here, you have some sort of higher, some sort of power that you are connecting to. And that is that moon. It's connecting to the moon is that energy of connecting to the unknown, connecting to what you cannot see, but putting your faith in something higher, right? And that is what our intuition is speaking of. Now, after that, we have the garden and the gate. And isn't it beautiful that after your passion and after your this connection to the intuition, you have the garden and the gate energy? Because the garden and the gate is about going into the hills beyond. Like, this girl has it good in her garden. You can see that. She has all of the things that she's going to need within this garden, right? But she has the key to her future on her neck. She has the key to her freedom and to her bliss on her neck. She just has to choose to walk through the gate, and we are filled with that, with the adventurous spirit. Like, that's what our soul is here to do. Our mind is here to keep us safe, but our soul is here to seek adventure, to seek growth, for itself, for that soul journey of self, right? And that's the garden and the gate, because she knows that there's more beyond this safety. Beyond the safety and the security of what she knows. She knows there is more. And I'm maybe sure the hills might have some dips and some, and some shadows, but the garden and the gate is about having the courage to go beyond your security, having the gate to go beyond what you know. And, you know, when it follows the second chakra in the goddess and the moon, like there it is, connecting, you know, listening to your passions, connecting to your intuition and being brave enough to walk through it. Interesting, financial constraints comes after that. And isn't that something that oftentimes keeps us afraid from following our journey, from following that movement forward, right? It is that feeling empty. It is that fear of bearing cupboards, right? But look, door to spirit after that, right? And this is a big one here, because it is, again, not, you know, not necessarily like, again, we're not talking about religion here, but we're talking to something greater. You know, we're talking about having the faith, having that security within a higher realm, right? Within a divine being, whatever that is to you. But this door to spirit, I love how these are overall approaching energies with this new moon. I just think that is, like, we've got passion, intuition, courage. Yes, some hiccups, financial constraints. Excuse me, Boogie. I'm just going to move you over like that so I can put the cards. Okay, thanks, dude. And door to spirit, right? That faith. All right, so let's start with the tarot here. So we're going to use the Good Tarot here by Colette Baron-Reid. And then I'm thinking I'll probably clarify all of it with the Light Seers Tarot. I'm thinking that's how we're going to go. Let's give this a couple shuffles. This is for the collective for the new moon in Taurus. New moon in Taurus. What does the collective need to know here with this new moon in Taurus, Spirit? I don't know if you guys can hear the birds in the background, but it is absolutely beautiful. I'm tucked in on my deck here so that I'm out of the wind, because the wind is still something to be reckoned with. But if you're out of the wind and you're just in the sunshine, it is a lovely place to be. All right. One last. Thank you, Spirit. All right, so what we're going to really be looking at here is what is beginning with this new moon, Spirit. What is beginning here with this new moon for the collective? What is beginning here for the new moon? We have the Five of Water. Look at that. Emotional healing. How is the mind going to be reacting to this? The Lovers. And how is the soul? Six of Wands. Wow. Okay. What may be challenging here with this new moon? We have the Queen of Cups. Absolutely. How may the mind be reacting to this? Okay. We have the Knight of Cups, the Knight of Messenger of Water here, and we have the Ace of Water. Wow, look at all this emotion that is coming in, guys. We have the Four of Water. Holy smoke, so much emotion. Okay, and how can you claim your power within this new moon cycle here? Overall energy, we have the Sun. We have the Four of Earth here for how your mind may be reacting. How does your soul claim your power here? Three of Cups. Holy smokes. All right, my friends. Wow, we have look at this. We have the Nine of Air on the bottom, which is the Nine of Swords, followed by the Ace of Swords. You know, for some, followed by the Three of Wands. Wow. For some, you know, sleepless nights might be something that you are definitely struggling with. And maybe it's not sleepless nights, but maybe it's interrupted sleeping. Maybe it's just that worry and that fear and that stress, you know, and you'll be feeling this. Nine of Swords is when we feel heavy by the worries and by the fears that blanket us, right? That's the Nine of Swords energy, you know, and that is our mind. Like, swords are very much about mind space and higher thinking. And the Nine of Swords is when your mind is just spinning. Like, it's just constantly reliving the fears and constantly reliving the worries and not connecting to what your soul is saying. That is the Nine of Swords. Now, you see the Ace of Swords follows this on the underlying. So there is clarity coming in here. That's what the Ace of Swords is all about. It's about clarity. It's about truth. It's about, you know, and aces are gifts from the divine. So it's almost like that kind of clarity that comes from the Lord. That's like, okay, put your worries to rest, because here is what you actually need to be thinking. This is really what's happening here. All right, so let's see what is beginning here. We have emotional healing. That's the Five of Cups here, you know, and the emotional healing that needs to happen in order for us to go forward is something that we can never skip. right? Like it's something that oftentimes we do overlook because we like to bury emotions and we like to hide those underneath. But the Five of Cups is definitely about acknowledging that cups were spilt, yes, but that there's still more opportunity for you to go forward. That just because emotions were spilt or feelings were hurt or bad things came, things came to an end, there was heartbreak, whatever the case may be, doesn't mean that that's all there is for you in life, right? That is the Five of Cups energy. Let's just clarify it as well while we're going here. And maybe for some of you with this Five of Cups and what's really beginning, this is the emotional healing. This is looking into maybe what you have buried down, right? Yes, we have the Two of Pentacles in reverse and the Four of Wands, clarifying this Five of Cups. Now, when the Two of Pentacles comes out in reverse, the Two of Pentacles is definitely talking about balance, okay? When it's in an upright energy, it's talking about balance. So when it's distorted, it's not a bad energy. It's simply saying that there is some imbalance within this. And when it comes to the Four of Wands, look, for some of you, there could have been imbalance with how you've seen the Four of Wands is kind of like that halfway to marriage card, okay? It's very much talking about, it has the Four of Wands. It can be talking about soulmate connections. It can be talking about celebration. It can be talking about relationships, maybe something that you've seen, a really great future. And there was some sort of imbalance to it. There was some sort, and the Two of Pentacles is about the imbalance between spirituality and your practicality, okay? It's about making tangible life happen, but also having the faith. That is what that Two of Pentacles flexibility and balance is talking about. And when we're talking about the Five of Cups here, when we're talking about emotions and emotional healing, letting go of things that doesn't work, definitely when these come out, there can be that imbalance within some sort of soulmate relationship, whether it was a karmic relationship, whether it was a twin flame relationship, whether it was within a relationship, within your marriage, existing marriage, right? And there was just this conflict of imbalance between having faith and making practical life work, right? And that whether or not you're going forward with that relationship or not doesn't matter. What matters is that the actual emotional healing from which you have now, like which needs to happen from that event, needs to happen, right? That's what this overall energy is talking about when we're talking about something new beginning. It's saying, okay, yes, there was that distorted energy. Yes, there was that imbalance within this happy ever after that you were seeing. Emotions were spilt, okay? Things happened. Your heart was hurt, yes, but now you are picking that up. You realize that just because that happened doesn't mean that that's all that there is to it. You're going forward, you're healing, right? And here your mind is on love. We have the Lovers, right? So your mind is thinking, okay, maybe it's new love, maybe it's reconciliation within this love, right? But there's healing that your mind is thinking, okay, yes, like this is what I'm moving towards, right? Like I can't emotionally carry all these burdens and pains and sadness and go forward. Like in order to go forward here and begin new love or begin new cycles within love, because even within relationships, right? We have to acknowledge that there has to be growth consistently within relationships. Within relationships, feelings still get hurt. Things still come up. There is still pains within relationships that we need to grow from and overcome and heal. And that is what I think the mind definitely is saying right now, like, yeah, that's a big one. Yeah, look, death and rebirth. In order to go forward here, there has to be this transformation and this change within inside you. And it's something that you really have to sit with and acknowledge that there has to be wholesome change, not only within your mind, but definitely within your emotion. There has to be, and especially when we're looking at our minds, because you got to acknowledge that our minds are built to keep us safe. That is what our mind is here to do. Our soul is connected to the spiritual, divine kind of guidance, but our mind is here to keep us alive, right? So it oftentimes will create these patterns and these beliefs and these stories from the emotions, the emotions that we have gone through in our past. Right? And that's what's beginning here is this healing. It's this death and rebirth. So you can acknowledge, okay, maybe the beliefs and the stories and the emotions that I have felt in my past aren't necessarily true going forward here. It's that, it's the rebirth of self here. And I love it because here your soul is seeking the Six of Fire. Here your soul is like self-liberating, claiming power, claiming worth, right? And going forward and being like, I'm doing the rebirth that's necessary. I'm doing the healing that is necessary for me to go forward here. Absolutely. We have the Lovers that came out. Look, Again, for some of you, this could definitely be talking about relationships. And it doesn't have to even be relationships, again, that are within you, but it's opening your mind to healing within relationships. Opening, and I love this Lovers card because it's so much about duality. Originally, the Lovers card was actually a choice card in the original tarot, right? And that is what the Lovers is all about. It is about duality. It's about, when we talk about duality, in order for duality not to be codependence, we have to acknowledge that we must put ourselves first. Because in order to have a fair, balanced relationship, you have to acknowledge, okay, what do I need? Like, how do I need to claim my power? How do I need to, stand on my own? What do I need to create my own happiness? Because your happiness must start with you. Otherwise, there's codependency, right? And this is self-liberating right here, right? Acknowledging that, you claim your power, you make your happiness, you open yourself up to love. That is a huge one. That is a huge step in liberating yourself from past relationships. We also had, oh my gosh, yes, 3 of Swords and the Fool come out behind this Lovers, because there has been heartache, and this is, again, what you're liberating yourself from. You're acknowledging the choice that you have to make here to liberate yourself past that heartache so that you can open self up to the Fool. Open self up to the new adventures, to the new way forward, to the higher thinking. Open yourself up to new spiritual advancement, right? New spiritual evolution, new spiritual growth. The Fool is very much about falling into the bliss, right? Falling into the spiritual bliss and opening self up. And anybody who's truly fallen into spiritual bliss acknowledges and knows that bliss comes from blisters, right? In order for you to get real about growth and spiritual advancement and get real about how to go forward in healthy blended relationships, that is something that really truly takes you doing a self-evaluation, and that self-evaluation is here very much what your soul is asking for, because that is self-evaluation is how you liberate yourself from the toxic patterns of the past or the disempowering patterns of the past, right? All right, so here, let's see, what could be challenging? We have the Queen of Water, and that's following. The Queens are all about connecting to intuition. The Queens are all about connecting to that soul, right? To that inner guidance, and here we're talking emotions again. And why this can be challenging, because when we're healing emotions, what is sensitive? Well, our emotions, of course, right? Overall energy. We have the Page of Cups in reverse, and we have the 5 of Pentacles in reverse. For some of you, it could be tough because maybe there was some sort of romantic relationship that you thought was going to be beginning. Again, we have distorted energy coming out here. And the 5 of Pentacles actually isn't such a bad energy to have distorted, because here it's almost like, when the 5 of Pentacles is upright, it's talking about feeling lack, feeling on the outer place. And I feel that as it kind of comes out in reverse here, I almost feel like there's that, the Queen of Cups clarified by these two. I kind of almost feel like it's where you have to have the faith and you have to have the trust and you have to open your heart up, even when you don't see the new beginnings, right? Even when you don't see the end to the tough cycles here, and 5 of Pentacles can be talking again about that financial restraint, right? It can be feeling lonely. It can be feeling just in despair, financially constrained. And the Page of Cups is kind of, when it's in reverse, it's like, I don't really see new beginnings in love here, right? But here, the challenging energy, this overall energy, is that you have to have the faith anyway. Just because you're not seeing what is coming doesn't mean that it's not coming. You have to overcome this low vibration kind of fear that those beginnings aren't here for you, and almost act as if they are anyway, right? Because the mind here, we have the Messenger of Water, and we have the Ace of Water. So the Knight of Cups and the Ace of Cups. And your mind here is like open. It's like, okay, no, like I'm ready for new emotional beginning. I'm ready to accept this cup that Spirit is offering, right? Like I'm ready to embrace better, higher emotions here. And yes, okay, that may be a challenge for your mind to get on board with. But, when we're addressing the fact that we need to be open and have that kind of faith, right? When we connect to, again, our intuition, the goddess of the moon, right? When we're connecting to our faith, baseline, our faith, right? Acknowledging that we need to be self-aware and self-conscious of being open to new opportunities. If you want an Ace of Cups, you're going to have to be open to the messenger, the Knight of Cups. You're going to have to be open to the forward coming of new emotions, right? Look at that. Hierophant comes flying on out here. Absolutely, right? You're going to have to sit with self here. And the Hierophant is about connecting to that higher self. You know, that godlike being on earth, right? Connecting and claiming your power and acknowledging that your power to be a higher, to vibrate on a higher vibration, or to, you know, to live life on a higher vibration, that power comes and stems again from you. You know, you must choose that kind of faith. You must choose that kind of beginning. And that's something that you have to feel and have faith with all the way, not only through your mind, but through your soul, right? Connecting again to what that higher being is to you. Now, 4 of Cups, we have the 3 of Cups in reverse, and we have the Wheel. Look at that. You know, and our soul can definitely be feeling, especially within this energy here, the 4 of Cups, it's interesting, kind of like the 5 of Cups, but it's before that, because it's like where you're still stuck looking at the emotions that got spilt. There's an open cup here. There's that Ace of Cups here that Spirit is offering you. And yet the 4 of Cups energy is like, well, are you going to actually acknowledge it, or are you simply going to stay stuck here? Look at this, 3 of Cups in the World in reverse. Are you going to stay, you know, the 3 of Cups is such a joyous kind of celebrating energy. It's about connection. It's about coming together. It can be soul tribes. It can be romantic relationships, you know, but something that not only has passion and emotion, but has spiritual connection behind it, right? And the World in reverse, again, distorted energy. The World upright is talking about cycles of completion. But when it's in this distorted energy, to me, this is like, are you going to continue to vibrate with these low vibration energies, right? Are you going to continue to look at the cups and the spilt emotions that didn't serve you anyway? Or are you going to accept here that there is a new cup of opportunity for you? Very challenging energy, because our minds will consistently tell us, well, you already know how the outcome is for this. So we already know this. This is safe. We won't die here. We've already been through this, right? And yet your emotions are saying, well, please, for the love of self, let's just sit with these emotions and let's see what's beyond them. Let's see what's beyond. If we just heal, then let's see what's beyond that. Okay. Now, how can you claim your power to this? Well, we have the Sun, the 4 of Earth, and the 3 of Cups. Because again, the Sun, it's about embracing and feeling fulfilled. The Sun is about acknowledging and seeing all that is around you, right? All the fulfillment, all the joy, all the happiness that is here for you. Page of Wands and the Hanged Man in reverse. Look at that. You know, and it's almost, this Page of Wands is about going forward, right? Going forward and very, sorry guys, just a second. I gotta take a drink of water. Wow. I flipped those cards and I'm not even kidding. My throat. Oh, my throat instantly just dried up. Wow. Holy smokes, that was tough. Wow, that was insane. Okay, so throat chakras are about communication. And when we are talking about the Page of Wands, and when it came up like that and my throat did what it just did there, for some of you there could be huge fears about saying, speaking, talking about cycles and patterns that you are not going forward in. Maybe for some of you, you have to tell somebody. Maybe it's a relationship and you're like, you know what? I need more than this. And you've been afraid to actually say that, look, I'm not repeating these cycles of the past anymore. I'm going forward with a different being, right? And for some of you, it can just be hard to communicate these changes within your own being, right? To knock off that negative talk maybe that you've been doing. We have the Hanged Man in reverse coming out here, you know, and the Hanged Man in reverse can talk about where, again, the Hanged Man upright is about surrendering, acknowledging, and, you know, and surrendering isn't there's very much that hierarchy of power, and surrendering isn't giving your power away, right? But surrendering is choosing to do the higher's will. This surrendering is choosing to have faith that what the divine wants for you is what you want for self, right? And see, and I feel like this is where you're really throwing those patterns up. Because oftentimes when the Hanged Man is in reverse, that is distorted energy. It's us not surrendering. It's us resisting that surrendering. You know, for some, it can even be that idea of like, well, I just have to give myself over, you know, to the higher, whatever that may be. You know, the higher comes first and then others come and then I come. Well, that's not right either, right? And see, and I feel that very much that this is where when we're talking about claiming your power here, this is the happiness that is yours. But by claiming your power, by acknowledging that, wait, I have to serve myself first, and then it's my choice on whether I give my free will to that of the divine, right? And then after I give that free will to the divine and I make that choice, then I go forward and I serve others, right? And again, not in, you know, not that you're just serving to give yourself, but when you choose to do the divine's will, the divine will therefore then give you plenty to help serve others. You know, and I see that's really where this change is happening in this overall energy, is you're finding your happiness by liberating self here, acknowledging the patterns of the past and acknowledging where your resistance has been, right? To just free will choosing to have the faith, okay? The mind here, Four of Pentacles, this is about where your mind is acknowledging your worth. Your mind is kind of getting on board with what your soul has been telling it and what the divine has been telling you all along, is how worthy you are of this forward movement, of how worthy you are of new beginnings. Page of Pentacles, absolutely beautiful energy. Absolutely. You know, your mind is, you know, in order to claim this power here, you have to acknowledge that you are worthy of going forward. You have to acknowledge that you are worthy of new beginnings, right? Page of Wands, here you're kicking ass and getting rid of the old cycles and the old patterns of the past. But in order to do that, you have to know you're worthy of that. You have to know you're worthy of new beginnings, right? Your soul is wanting, isn't that interesting? You know, what could be challenging you here, that Three of Cups came out in distorted energy, and yet what your soul is wanting you to do with claiming this power is the Three of Cups in an upright energy, because your soul is wanting you to expand. Your soul isn't wanting you to hold past emotions and past pain that isn't going to let you grow here. Your soul is saying, yes, those things happened, but let's claim our power here. Let's open ourselves up. Let's sit with that pain. Let's do the healing. Let's understand that if that didn't work out, it's because the Lord has something greater for us in store, right? Three of Cups. Let's clarify this Three of Cups. How does the soul claim the Three of Cups here? Wow, Two of Cups and Strength in reverse. Absolutely. You know, your soul claims the power here. And it's interesting because that Two of Cups and that Lovers I kind of seen, you know, because that Lovers came up with that Six of Wands up here. And it's beautiful that it came out like this, because how you claim your power here within this Three of Cups, well, it's clarified by the Two of Cups and the Strength, because you have to acknowledge, I feel, very much where you have not stood in your power. You know, maybe this Two of Cups is a friend. Maybe it's some sort of partnership for sure. Maybe it's something that's, you know, just allowing you to hold the hand to really acknowledge your power within this. But I do feel like your soul here, very much having to claim this power, is to acknowledge where you have surrendered your power and your strength in the past. Because, you know, this Strength card is beautiful and I love it. I'm going to turn it in the upright, you know, because that's what we're doing here, is we're claiming our power. And this isn't a noisy brawn power, you know. It's not something that's going out and just, you know, screaming, I am powerful, but it is something that deep within its soul knows, I am putting myself first. I am claiming my power. My free will is going to choose how I follow the divine. My free will is going to choose how I love others. And within that, that is my strength, right? Because you acknowledge, I feel very much here, your soul is like claiming that, like, you're not just meant to be a side piece to a Two of Cups. This is two hands coming together to blend their energy and create magic together. And in order to create magic together with anybody, you have to acknowledge that you are worthy enough of that kind of, you know, power with, like, you bring your own magic. It's not somebody else. Again, it's addressing that maybe where that codependency has lied in the past, right? That Strength in reverse can definitely be talking about that codependent nature. You know, needing others to fill your energy, needing others to make you feel strong, to make you feel courageous, to make you feel brave. And here, this is that acknowledgement, your soul saying, no, let's just acknowledge how well you fill yourself, you know, and how that beautiful energy of how you fill yourself therefore creates these beautiful relationships. Because if you're not filling yourself, your relationships aren't going to be as fulfilling as you are wanting them to be. Because you have to come in with that kind of energy. You have to come in with that kind of emotional fulfillment, if that's what you're wanting from it, right? Interesting. All right, so we're going to finish up here with Spirit's final message. What is Spirit's final message here for the collective going forward? Thank you, Spirit. All right, wow, we have the Six of Cups. We have the World. We have the Eight of Air, and somewhere in here we had something else turn over. Wow, Six of Air, transformation. Look at that. Isn't it beautiful that there were so many cup cards out here, and yet Spirit's message here is a lot of air, because it's like your heart knows and your soul knows that there needs to be healing. There needs to be forward movement. Your soul already knows the plan that it, you know, and what needs to happen here for you to go forward. And it's about getting your mind. It's about acknowledging those old survival patterns of self and being like, okay, we're not going that way, right? Six of Cups, absolutely, because you're doing the reflection, you're doing the healing, right? Sitting with all of the emotions, good and bad, and seeing how far you have come. You know, your mind has kept you safe and alive until this point. Now acknowledge that, okay, just because I've done things in the past, now I know better. Now I'm going forward knowing better, right? With the World behind that. Cycles are completed. You know better now. And once you know, you can't unknow, right? Like, now you know, you know, and oh my gosh, okay, stop saying no. But those cycles are completed. Here you are addressing the emotions. Here you are looking at self, you know, doing that reflection with inside of self. Going back, you know, Six of Cups oftentimes has, you can actually see her reflection is a very young child. Her reflection is a version of herself, a younger version of herself, because healing comes from going back and sitting with self and acknowledging, like, okay, what maybe happened within the past that that caused some sort of emotional trauma that I have now carried forward into my adult years. And how has that story, how has those beliefs, how is that, those emotions from that past trauma now affected my, you know, adult life or wherever you're at, right? The World is about that completion. The World is about that healing. The World is about sitting with those emotions and being very real. But, you know, acknowledging the Eight of Air, I love that, because here that Eight of Swords is acknowledging those old thought patterns, acknowledging those old survival patterns that have been in your head that have kept you trapped, kept you small, and saying, okay, I'm not that girl anymore. I love this depiction, because you can see she's setting all of those old, like, she's setting those feathers free. And to me, that's very much like, it almost signifies, you know, setting those old patterns of how you, those old thought patterns, right? Those old emotional patterns, whatever, those old disempowering patterns, right? Setting those free and acknowledging that that is not how you're going forward here. Six of Air follows that. You are in transformation stage right now. Okay, the waters may be a little rough, because that happens when we're in that transformation energy. That happens when we're moving from one place to the next, when we're doing this kind of intense soul growth. That is definitely something that comes up, okay? But you're being guided here by the divine, okay? Six of Swords is, yes, the waters are rough, but Spirit is pulling your boat. Okay, so don't have that fear. Sit with these emotions. Allow yourself the courage to go forward and do the healing. Do that inward reflection. Dig down deep, okay? Write out, where did these stories come from? Where did these beliefs come from? What was the original incident that happened? And then go back and sit with that self and help that self to heal from that. Help that self to acknowledge that just because that happened then doesn't mean that that is the true story now. Okay, just because you reacted that way, there's no reason to feel guilt or shame because you didn't know better, right? This is where you are finding your happiness. This is where, as this new moon cycle becomes, it's where you're expressing yourself, right? All right, let's finish up here with some oracle cards. I think we're going to pull the Spirit Animal Oracle and then maybe a Moonology. Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe we'll just go with the Spirit Animal. Boog, can you keep your butt and your tail off my cards here? He just wants to be so much. He's so happy that I'm sitting here doing this. Usually he sits beside me and whines at me, so he's quite happy that he's allowed to be a part of this. All right, Spirit, what Spirit Animal Oracle message do you have for the collective going forward here? do you want the collective to know going forward here? Huh. Wasp spirit, sometimes life stings. Well, isn't that the truth? All right, and I'm actually just going to read this just to finish it off. There you are. Wasp spirit, sometimes life stings. Interesting enough, actually, just before I started this reading, there was a wasp that was on this blanket. Not all that spirit creates in nature is easy to love. But when we look through the eyes of the wasp spirit, we recognize that even though sometimes life stings, there is a purpose for pain. There is also a purpose for wasps in the natural world. Wasps keep insect populations down, supporting the growth of plants. So too the sting of life may hurt, and you may feel deeply disappointed or even resentful that the wasp spirit has shown up. But you will soon come to see that spirit has something wonderful in store for you. You may well come to realize that being stung led to something far better than you had envisioned for yourself. Perhaps behind the scenes, wasp spirit was conspiring with spirit to ensure that you would grow something of value to you. Spirit has a plan, and wasp spirit plays a part. Have you ever looked back and been glad your prayers weren't answered because the path you took led to something far better? Wasp spirit is a reminder to reflect on those times, for today's sting may hurt, but something better awaits you. I'm also going to read the protection message. Are you holding on to anger, jealousy, or resentment because you got stung? Or could you have just stung yourself by comparing yourself to others? There will always be someone who is more successful, happier, thinner, richer, etc. Jealousy is a false belief that you can't have what you want, or someone could take away something that was supposed to be yours. Let it go and release all those feelings that are making that sting hurt long after the stinger has been removed. Wasp spirit has woken you up, and now you are called to trust that disappointment can lead you to a different path and a better path. Align with spirit now and trust that this too shall pass and is already doing so, for the pain subsides when you stop telling the story of how much it hurt. Well, my beautiful friends, thank you so much for being here today. As always, all my love. Bye now.